Now at 9, going to take a look at damages from storms that rolled across the region yesterday.
Democrats are fighting over how many trillions of dollars to spend on President Biden's signature legislation, while Republicans are trying to pump the brakes. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have that story straight ahead.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Albee. Temperatures starting to dip as we move past the weekend's severe weather threats. Turn first to meteorologist Nick Kelly. Nick?
Yeah, with that last storm system, Jordan, we really dodged a bullet with maybe just scattered storms and maybe a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings out in southern Berry County. But for us, the front certainly lived up to its name with this drop in temperatures. 49 this morning and topping out at 61 degrees this afternoon. Thankfully, we don't have anything threatening to track us throughout the course of the night. Increasing clouds out west, sure, but we're still watching our next storm system ready to work in right on the heels of the last one as we go into the next few days. But for now, it's turning chilly with most of us in the lower 50s. That's because we've calmed that breeze down with the quiet skies that we've seen so far. That means we're going to actually drop back, then hold steady in the mid 40s to start the day out. Before that next system rolls in, though, we'll see cloud cover increase tomorrow, maybe a random sprinkle or two, but we are expecting highs to go back into the lower to mid 70s for tomorrow. So we'll focus on the next system in a bit, Jordan, but I understand, like you said, we have a better idea of what the last storm system did across the rest of the region.
Thank you. Severe storms spawned several tornadoes in Missouri last night, causing significant damage. Residents in the city of Cameron, and specifically east of St. Joseph, say the tornado touched down so quickly they had little time to react. Fox's Monica Castro has more.
As you can see behind me, the house is now unlivable. John Duncan said that this tornado came so quickly that they did not even have time to get into their basement.
We were in the bedroom and I looked out the window and I saw black clouds swirling just across the road like 100 feet from the house, and I yelled to my wife, tornado, and we hit the floor.
John Duncan of Cameron, Missouri says while they were in the bedroom taking cover, they could hear the wind howling as it ripped the roof off.
Terrifying for a minute or two there. Like I said, it didn't last very long.
Now this is all that is left of their house on Crow Road, and debris is scattered throughout the property. Almost as fast as the storm came and passed, people came to help.
We've had about 100 people just show up to help us. It's a miracle and amazing.
Just down the road from the Duncans' property, the storm caused more damage.
Looks like we lost the fence up front and a little bit of the roof there blew off.
Back at the Duncan property, as they salvage what they can, they are just thankful to be alive and to have help.
It's a miracle to me. I couldn't have moved all this stuff in a month.
The family echoed that they are just so grateful that they had so many people out here helping them to clean up and to salvage some of their items. They plan to stay with relatives for the night. I'm Monica Castro, Fox 4, working for you.
Another small Missouri town dealing with tornado aftermath. Multiple homes, businesses as well damaged or destroyed, as you can see right there. The town of St. Mary, about 80 miles south of St. Louis, took a direct hit from a twister last night. But despite the extensive damage, thankfully there are no reports of fatalities. Cherokee County, Kansas Sheriff's Office announces some road closures along highways. First up, Highway 400 just east of Cherokee is closed and will stay that way through Wednesday as crews repair a railroad crossing. Also, Route 66 just east of the Riverton stoplight is going to be closed from 9 to 10 tomorrow morning. Crews have completed work on the southbound I-49 bridge over Spring River south of Lamar. The bridge has closed since May, so contractors could replace the old bridge with a new structure. It's part of the state's $351 million Focus on Bridges program, which is going to repair or replace 250 bridges across the Show-Me State. Integris Hospital in Miami, honoring one of its former employees. Joanne Van Sant was a caregiver at the hospital for 40 years, but lost her battle with breast cancer last September. Well, today, hospital officials announced they are naming their mammogram program in her memory. The program is now called the Miami Mammography Program in memory of Joanne Van Sant.
I mean, there's no words. I mean, I know everybody loved her because, people would ask who I am and they're like, oh, you're Joanne Van Sant's son. And they just talk good about her, We just love her and she's a special lady and, she was one of a kind.
The program provides mammogram screenings at no charge to medically underserved individuals. Coronavirus vaccine mandates are prompting even more protests in major cities today. Meanwhile, Moderna releases new clinical data for its vaccine trial in younger children. Fox News correspondent Jonathan Seary has more.
thousands of workers marching in New York today, protesting the city's COVID vaccine mandate.
This mandate has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho!
And in Chicago, the police union rallied against Mayor Lori Lightfoot's vaccine requirement for city workers. According to the union, more than 24 officers have been placed on no-pay status for not following the mandate.
The city doesn't want to allow the officers to choose for themselves what's right for them. And for me, that's all about control.
Meanwhile, Moderna announcing today its vaccine provides a robust immune response after 2 doses for children 6 to 11 years old. In the trial, about 4,700 children received half the dose given to adults. Most experienced mild or moderate side effects such as headaches and fatigue. The drug maker says it will soon submit that information to the FDA. The data come ahead of an FDA advisory panel meeting on Pfizer's vaccine for children ages 5 to 11. On Tuesday, the panel will discuss whether to recommend the kid-sized doses, which were more than 90% effective in a study. Health officials say shots could begin next month.
It's going to be in pediatricians' offices with small needles, up to the doctor and the patient and the parent to make a decision.
If the FDA authorizes Pfizer's shots for this age group, a CDC advisory committee will then meet to recommend who should get them. In Atlanta, Jonathan Seri, Fox News.
President Biden lobbying lawmakers behind closed doors as well as voters out in public in hopes of rallying support for his Build Back Better agenda this week. Today, he made 2 stops in New Jersey trying to get Congress to make a move. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports now from D.C.
Are you going to build big buildings when you get old?
President Biden headed to New Jersey on Monday, pushing 2 measures he hopes can get through Congress this week. One, a massive social spending bill. The other, a $1 trillion update to the nation's infrastructure.
These bills are not about left versus right or moderate versus progressive or anything that pits one American against another. These bills are about competitiveness versus complacency.
The framework of the social spending bill has money for child care, pre-K, elder care, and climate change mitigation. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says 90% of the bill has been agreed to. Behind the scenes, negotiators are trying to cut the price tag down to around $2 trillion. Still too high for Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia.
Still 1-5, guys.
Some progressives are losing patience with the other centrist Democrat being wooed by the White House, Senator Kyrsten Sinema of Arizona.
And that's my frustration with her. She's not clear about what she believes.
The social spending bill would also raise taxes on the wealthy, a no-go for the GOP.
Some members of this body are now threatening to impose new taxes that would take as much as 39% of revenues away from these vital small businesses.
On Monday, President Biden said he hopes a deal can be reached on both bills before he leaves for Europe on Thursday. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time now to honor another 4-state hero. Basil Mark served in this Navy from 1951 to 55. We are proud to thank and salute Basil Mark. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Nick Kelly's next with a complete look at the forecast a bit later. Carl Junction Bulldogs and Webb City Volleyball facing off in a rematch of last year's titled game.
Definitely turned quite a bit cooler after our last storm system brought some scattered rain and storms the other day and a couple of severe thunderstorm warnings. But again, we really dodged a bullet with that front while delivered severe weather up north around Kansas City and really hitting areas south of St. Louis hard. But no threatening weather whatsoever today. We kept things nice and quiet. We're still looking nice and quiet from Indigo Sky just outside of Seneca, Missouri. But all the rain that we picked up over the weekend just left us completely soaked. Nothing today, but for the month so far, we're closing in on about 6 inches of rainfall, and we're over 44 inches for the year. Normally, we should be averaging around 39 inches, so anytime we're above 5 inches of rain, we're kind of in okay shape. We don't need any more rain, but like it or not, Mother Nature has more rain on the way. But the last system that passed on through certainly lived up to its name in dropping temperatures down. We topped out rather in the mid to upper 70s yesterday, dropped back to upper 40s and near 50 this morning, and only making it into the upper 50s and lower 60s this afternoon. And it has gotten chilly once we got past sunset, that is for sure. Most of us around 50 now, but the farther south and west you go from Joplin, you're still trying to hold on to some lower 50s, but no matter where you are, it's chilly. But like 7th and Range Line, we got some pretty quiet skies up top, sitting at 50 at Joplin Regional with a light east breeze and the humidity sitting at about 86%. We are looking dry on the radar and the Skywatch storm tracker. However, some cloud covers building in out west. Nothing underneath the clouds to start the overnight out, but that's going to help temperatures only bottom out in the mid-40s. We have a little upper level ridge that will warm us up a little tomorrow and keep us mainly dry before our next main storm system works out of the western parts of the U.S. That's the next system on the way in. Until that system gets here, though, we'll keep quiet during the overnight. Cool, though, with lows dropping back into the mid-40s. And ahead of that next storm system, we are going to see cloud cover on the increase throughout the day. And like Doug said earlier today, maybe a random sprinkle or two, maybe a quick random shower. That's going to be the exception rather than the rule, though. I still think most of us will stay on the dry side, while the southeast breeze of 5 to 15 miles per hour kicks us up in terms of temperatures. 46 in the morning, 66 by noon, and highs around 74 degrees. We stay quiet to start Tuesday evening out, but going into early Wednesday morning, look at the storms out west. Those are going to be severe as they fire up out in central and western Kansas. Fortunately for us, they'll be on the weakening trend as they roll in here. Still can't rule out some strong storms to start Wednesday morning out, but once these storms roll in on Wednesday, they're going to stick with us off and on. Periods of rain and storms throughout the day before we get the back edge of the system out of here by about Thursday, certainly Thursday morning. So with this next storm system on the way, everyone's fair game to pick up at least an inch, maybe up to 2 inches of rain. But fortunately, this is a system that will not stick around by the end of the week. 74 tomorrow, 62 Wednesday with all the clouds and the rain, 57 on Thursday. We're going to stay in the upper 50s for Friday to start the weekend, Jordan. But anything going on Saturday and the trick-or-treaters for Halloween, weather's going to be pretty good for us. 66 on Saturday and 62 for Halloween.
Yeah, it's such a fall-like day today. It was so enjoyable.
I know, and that's all I got to say.
That's all you can say. It's good enough. Nick Kelly, thank you. Coming up, a drought, then too much rain.
The West Coast already reeling from drought and wildfires this summer, now battered by a powerful storm. I'm Matt Finn in Los Angeles. The latest coming up.
Police in Boise, Idaho say 2 people were killed, 6 injured, including a police officer, in a shooting at a shopping mall right there. A suspect has been taken into custody. At a news conference, authorities say they were working their way through each business at the mall. No word yet on a possible motive for this shooting. Well, the strongest storm ever to hit the West Coast, making waves over the weekend, bringing rain, heavy winds, even snow to the Pacific Northwest. Fox News correspondent Matt Finn has the latest.
Meteorologists calling it a bomb cyclone, a powerful storm slamming the West Coast over the weekend and putting parts of Northern California underwater.
I didn't realize it was so deep, and then I saw a person that was walking and it was up to his knees.
A potentially historic rainfall brought on by what's called an atmospheric river, a concentrated plume of moisture that rolled in from the Pacific. Widespread flooding prompted evacuation orders for areas near San Francisco. Many drivers were left stranded after being caught in the sudden deluge of rain.
My car, stuck there, cannot move.
How deep is the water, do you know?
Right here. I think about almost 3 feet.
California is no stranger to extreme weather. Burn scars left by this summer's wildfires have made the situation even more dangerous, with all that rain picking up rocks, vegetation, and debris, causing mudslides like this one.
A lot of litter, tree litter, branches coming down, a lot of debris in the roadways, and that's leading to a lot of localized flooding.
In the Sierra Nevada mountains, the rain turned to snow, more than a foot falling overnight and shutting down Interstate 80. Strong winds were blamed for at least 2 deaths near Seattle after a tree fell on top of a car. Utility provider PG&E is out working to restore power. As of Sunday night, they reported about 130,000 outages across California, the biggest problems caused by wind knocking over power lines. In Los Angeles, Matt Finn, Fox News.
Next, investigations leading to more information.
New details about a deadly prop gun shooting involving actor Alec Baldwin. I'm Jonathan Hunt in Los Angeles. Coming up, I'll tell you what witnesses say happened right before the gun went off.
More details tonight about the moments leading up to a deadly prop gun shooting on the set of the Alec Baldwin film Rust. Fox News chief correspondent Jonathan Hunt has the latest now from Los Angeles.
At least 2 crew members handled the prop gun Alec Baldwin shot off in a deadly accident on a movie set last week. According to an affidavit released by the Santa Fe County Sheriff, the actor was rehearsing, pointing the revolver right at the camera when it went off, killing cinematographer Helena Hutchins. Director Joel Souza, who was injured in the shooting, told investigators 2 people handled the gun before it was given to Baldwin. The chief electrician on the set, meantime, said producers cut corners and costs, posting on Facebook, quote, "To save a dime sometimes, you hire people who are not fully qualified for the complicated and dangerous job, and you risk the lives of the other people who are close." Meanwhile, the movie's producers are pulling the plug on filming for now. In a letter sent to the crew on Sunday, they said, quote, "As we go through this crisis, we have made the decision to wrap the set at least until the investigations are complete." Candlelight vigils were held over the weekend for Hutchins.
We love what we do, but it should never take us away.
The incident sending shockwaves across Hollywood, with many who work on sets still looking for answers.
The safety protocols are out the wazoo, so this is unacceptable.
A camera operator who was working on the set says Baldwin himself was very careful when it came to the use of prop firearms while filming prior to the tragic accident. In Los Angeles, Jonathan Hunt, Fox News.
Coming up, a visit to Deutschland for a special beard competition. Let the hair games begin. Goodness, look at that. In southeastern Germany, they're competing down to the stubble for the bragging rights to best facial grooming. Who stashed away the best mustache? Or whose beard do you fear for best whisker arrangement? About 100 competitors going for broke or stroke. In the Beard Olympics for all and the German Beard Championships for Germans. The looks range from stately gents to irate pirates, jolly old elves or gnomes or spiky houseplants even. In categories such as Mustache Dali, as in Salvador Dali, Mustache Imperial, Whisker Freestyle, and Full Beard Natural with styled upper lip using hairspray, hair dryers, mousse, and wax to impress a panel of barbers and hairstylists. Let me look at that. Jen, let me look at this. Goodness, that's impressive. I was reading the script, not really, taking a good look at this, but that's impressive. Would I have a mustache like that? No. I get fired. But that's impressive. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Going to check out some additions to Mercy Park in Joplin. Some sculptures with special meanings. Also, going to learn about a new program in Southeast Kansas to help with food insecurity among kids. Local Rotary clubs today unveiled new statues in the Rotary Sculpture Garden of Joplin's Mercy Park. There were 12 bronze sculptures in the park. Now there are 3 more. The new statues are called Whimsical Nature of a Little Girl, The Face of Strength in an Osage Woman, and the Brotherhood of 3 Young Boys.
It's a great park. It's starting to mature now, and then add the sculptures, just another element. The whole idea is to bring people to Joplin. And while you're here, come out and enjoy the park, enjoy the sculptures, and like I said, we'll keep adding to it.
Sculpture Garden is a joint effort by the Rotary Club of Joplin and the Joplin at Daybreak Rotary. An auction for memorabilia collectors in Branson today. Assets from the Jim Stafford Theater and 2 other buildings went up for bids ahead of the structures being torn down in the next couple of months. Joe Hickman takes us inside the bidding war.
But with Stafford now in retirement in Florida, his old theater is about to be demolished in the next 60 days, as are 2 buildings next door. The Caravel Theater, once the home of the Liverpool Legends, and the Gateway Inn Hotel. Today, though, was one last hurrah, as a couple of hundred people came to an auction where pretty much everything that wasn't tied down was up for bidding, right down to the costumes that Stafford wore on stage.
We need some of those light-up suits, the LED lights.
Memorabilia lovers could get Stafford's taped guitar from one of his most well-known routines for $1,000, one of his puppets for $225, and this parrot costume for $240. These theater doors sold for $375, while a giant guitar on the outside marquee went for $1,300. The big sells were actually more functional items, like the theater's generator. They went for $55,000, although you could get things like these theater speakers for just $150. And you had to make sure that what you were trying to buy would fit in your car.
The sign that says Jim's Stuff. Oh my gosh, that's bigger than I thought.
Rick Inman was here because he used to work in Stafford's band during the 1990s and wanted a memory of those fun times.
A hat and a jacket that still has my name in it from when we did a marching band. So I thought I'd come here and bid on that. It's got, a lot of heartfelt memories here, a lot of good memories.
Fray Patton from Cape Fair got several costumes and a poster of Stafford because it brought back the good times of attending his shows as a child with her grandpa and grandma.
I don't really remember the shows that well, but I do remember just the feeling of being with my grandparents all the time.
Christy Hatman came from Thayer, dressed in her Talk to Me Goose jacket.
I haven't lost that love and feeling. I love the movie Top Gun and I love auctions.
And she was here for a more practical reason.
We actually bought the old schoolhouse in Thayer and I needed a stage curtain and we can't get them at Walgreens.
And while it was a day to reminisce and say goodbye,
it's sad seeing this go.
It feels like part of Branson's kind of going away.
It was also a chance to buy a memory of something you love.
Money for everything, big or small, right? All right, this is Red Ribbon Week, an annual campaign raising awareness about alcohol, tobacco, drug, and violence prevention. McDonald County schools are taking part, having students blow away drugs. To do that, kindergarten through second grade students took part in a bubble blowing activity.
And encouraging them to keep a healthy body, maybe encouraging them, telling them that you can blow more bubbles if you have strong lungs and that sort of thing. So teaching them things at a young age that they can kind of understand, and then keeping that conversation going is so crucial. And so that's one of the things that the coalition really strives to do.
Students also received activity sheets with conversation starters so they can talk to their parents about staying drug-free. Well, the Pittsburgh Ymca is kicking off a new program to address food insecurity among kids. The Y says 1 in 5 children don't know where their next meal is coming from. And to address that, they've introduced the Grab and Go Food Program. It's a weekly program that allows kids to pick up a grocery bag with enough food to feed them for a week.
I definitely think Ron's recognizes the need and that they know how important this relationship is for our community and wanting to help that impact. And so it's really a blessing for us that Ron's has been committed to the community like they are.
The program officially starts Saturday at Ron's Supermarket there in Pittsburgh. After that, distribution is going to take place every Saturday from 9 to 11 at Ron's. Joplin Community Gardens are ready for Halloween. Look at that. The Joplin Empire Market and Downtown Joplin Alliance hosted the Zombies in the Garden event. Community members were able to come by, make zombie scarecrow decorations for those gardens.
And even one that I built, I know it's there, but then later I'm watering and it catches me out of the corner of my eye, like, oh, something's behind me. So it's kind of a fun way. I love Halloween. It's a good way to get involved and make things happen in the garden when most people think the garden season's over.
Empire Market is hosting a Cauldrons and Cocktails Night Market on October 30th, where visitors will walk through the zombie garden installation and judge which ones are the best. 2 months to Christmas, and there are still shiploads of products clogging the nation's ports, and that's led to higher prices that could stick around much longer than anticipated. Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says inflation could last into next year. Fox's Madeline Rivera is in D.C. with how business owners and shoppers are trying to cope.
Lately, brewing beer at the Coin Toss Brewing Company outside of Portland, Oregon has been more challenging than usual, leaving founder Tim Holt to celebrate simple victories.
I'm just glad I can get my hands on the barley and the hops to make beer,
Holt is having a hard time getting raw material because of supply chain bottlenecks. Finding glass bottles is even a tougher job, a packaging company says.
Come January, we will not be able to offer any bottling services anymore.
The backups are pushing prices up. Now, Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell says inflation could likely stay elevated well into next year, as economic experts say the shortages are unlikely to ease before then.
It leans toward inflation not getting out of control. That doesn't mean we're not going to get a very uncomfortable 3 to 6 months, maybe even up to a year. But look, supply chain bottlenecks will not last forever.
But a shortage of truck drivers is exacerbating the supply chain crisis. This year, the trucking industry is expected to hit a shortage of 80,000 drivers, a record high, says the American Trucking Associations. With no immediate relief in sight, Hull says he'll just find a way.
If anything over the last 18 to 20 months has told us, you just got to roll with it.
Shoppers are likely to feel the pinch this holiday season. Industry analysts say fewer items in store mean fewer discounts. In Washington, Martha Rivera, Fox News.
A bit later, a warning from federal officials who say there's been a massive increase in ransomware attacks.
As advertised, once we got behind the cold front, they gave us some showers and thunderstorms yesterday afternoon and evening, even a couple of severe thunderstorms. We cooled down quite a bit, certainly felt more like fall compared to the warm temperatures we had to wrap up the weekend. Looking quiet from indigo sky outside of Seneca, Missouri, and we need that chance to dry out because we just got soaked with rain throughout the course of the weekend, especially Friday night and going into Saturday. Nothing today, thankfully, but as far as the month goes, we're almost pushing 6 inches of rain, putting us over 44 inches for the year so far. Normally we should be around 39, so do the math. No wonder that we're above average by 5 inches. We wanted a chance to dry things out a little bit, but already we're tracking our next storm system, eager to roll on in. Before it gets here, though, we're keeping things quiet this evening and heading into the overnight. Well, look at how chilly it's gotten already. Already some upper 40s from Iola over to Stockton Lake. Everyone else is trying to hold on either near 50 or in the lower 50s. But at least we're keeping things quiet, especially right now from the east side of Joplin overlooking 7th and Rangeline. 50 degrees at the airport and downtown with the humidity not too terribly high at 86%. Let's take it to the maps. We started out the evening with mostly clear skies. A nice change of pace after quite a bit of cloud cover today, but we're seeing more cloud cover work back in, but nothing underneath the clouds. So we're going to keep things quiet for tonight. That being said, looking upstairs at the jet stream level, we've got a weak upper level ridge that'll graze us tomorrow. That'll be enough, though, to send us back into the 70s for many of us. However, our next storm system definitely waiting in the wings, and that will be ready to roll in as we head toward Wednesday for sure. In the meantime, though, again, we'll keep things quiet during the course of the night. Certainly more cloud cover by the time the morning drive gets underway. But that doesn't stop us from getting cool, with most of us dropping back into the mid and even some upper 40s. Ahead of the next storm system, though, a little bit of energy upstairs is going to try to produce maybe a random sprinkle or a quick little shower. That's going to be the exception rather than the rule. Most of us will be dry tomorrow, while temperatures with the southeast breeze trend a little milder. Let's go 46 in the morning, 66 by noon. Highs with a little bit of sun, well, should top out around 74 degrees. Going into Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning, note the storms out in western and central Kansas. That's ahead of the next storm system. Those will be severe as they get going, but by the time everything rolls in here for the morning drive Wednesday, we shouldn't deal with anything, if not very little severe weather. But once these rain chances work in, they'll stick with us throughout the entire day on Wednesday. Periods of off and on rain and even some thunderstorms. Then we'll just transition over to rain for Thursday morning before we dry things out throughout the course of the day. But with this next storm system on the way, if you don't want more rain, unfortunately, we've got plenty more lined up, with the rain tracker here suggesting anywhere from 1 inch to almost 2 inches, maybe a little bit more if we can get some heavier pockets of rain to line up. So that's the next system we're watching, but at least this will keep temperatures in check for sure. 74 Tuesday, 62 Wednesday, only 57 even after we clear out the rain on Thursday, Jordan. But the weekend looking good. It's going to be very fall-like with 59 on Friday, lower to middle 60s for the rest of the weekend. And how about Halloween? Keeping it dry for the trick-or-treaters.
Yeah, that's the main thing. So we can all have fun.
Yeah.
Hey, Kelly, thank you. All right, coming up in sports, going to hear from the Pittsburgh State cross-country team following their MIAA championship victory on Saturday. Plus, Carthage facing Joplin tonight. One team going to be taking home the district championship. Danny Terzer has that and more next.
Championship night for volleyball district tournaments in Missouri. In the Class 5 District 12 tournament, the top 2 seeds remain. The Carthage Tigers face the Joplin Eagles this evening. Joplin knocked out Carthage in the semifinals last year. A big block here for Sophia Shannon. The Tigers take a close first set. Then Allie Lawrence with the kill. Perfect spot. Eagles even it back up, tied 1-1. In the third, Angelina Schramm kills it down the other line. Joplin goes up 2-1. On to the fourth set to Bailey Owens. She puts it just out of reach. And check out this point. Really nice get by Paisley Parker. Carthage sends it back over, but the Eagles are there for the block. It's tipped out of bounds. Eagles point. Joplin goes on to win this set, claiming the district title 3-1. In Class 4 District 12, it's a rematch of last year's title game between Carl Junction and Webb City. Brenda Lawrence in the first set, getting a huge hit to tie it at 23. Kirsten Gallardo will get this point. Webb City wins the first set 28-26 and the second set. Destiny Berge with the kill here. They take the third set and the fourth. Now it's tied. So Aubrey Lassiter, she pushes this one over. Webb City takes the fifth set to win the district championship 3-2.
It's volleyball, so we're used to the hills and valleys all the time. I really feel like our season has been hills and valleys, and we've just really been focused on the last couple of weeks to make sure that we are okay in the valley. We just keep our breath, move to the next ball, don't focus on what's happened before, and really move forward. But like I said, iron sharpens iron with CJ and Webb City Volleyball. We're always going to give our best games each one.
In Class 1 District 9, College Heights tops Jasper in a 5-setter 3-2 to claim the title. Also, the Diamond Wildcats are the Class 2 District 11 champions. Diamond beats Arcoxie 3-1. The Pittsburgh State men's cross-country team won the program's first ever MIAA championship on Saturday. The Gorillas had 4 runners place in the top 10, including a third-place finish by Matthew Oglesby.
These guys have been building trust together for such a long time that there's just a confidence among them that they're all going to do their job on the day.
Been a lot of just mental energy, a lot of physical energy, and so to finally accomplish it, go back and look at pictures and relive moments and relive memories. It's one of the greatest feelings to watch and to be able to experience another conference championship. In a way, another one, but also a first one.
The Missouri Southern men also fared well. As a team, the men finished second. JP Rutledge secured a second-place finish, while Ryan Riddle won the individual title. He finished the 8K race in 24 minutes, 28.42 seconds. Now, Riddle has won 4 straight individual titles. He's a perfect 3 for 3 in the regular season, plus the MIAA championship.
Yeah, I think for me, the main thing was confidence. My training really hasn't changed too much physically, but I think just confidence-wise, I came into this season after what I did the last 2 track seasons at this huge confidence booster, and I just carried it over to cross. Gideon won the last 2 years, and then unfortunately he sat out this year with a small injury. So I wanted to go out there and do it for him because I knew he'd be pushing it if he was still there with me.
The St. Louis Cardinals announced a new manager today after dismissing Mike Schilt earlier this month. Oliver Marmol is taking over as the 51st manager in Cardinals history. He's also the youngest in Major League Baseball at 35 years old. Marmol has spent his entire career in the Cardinals organization, serving as the bench coach the past 3 seasons. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Federal officials say there's been a massive uptick in ransomware attacks in 2021. Fox News correspondent Brett Larson explains how to protect yourself in this edition of our Fox on Tech series.
In the first 6 months of this year, there were more ransomware attacks than all of last year.
Ransomware is malware that is easily enters a company's environment or an organization's systems, and then has the ability to proliferate across and encrypt that data, make that data available, essentially crippling an organization's operations.
Steve Graywall is Chief Technology Officer with Cohesity, which helps organizations avoid ransomware and bounce back if they're hit. But ransomware attacks don't just stop businesses from operating. The attack on the Colonial Pipeline earlier this year resulted in temporary fuel supply shortages along the East Coast. The Treasury Department now requires companies and individuals to report ransomware payments. The department said those payments totaled around $600 million in the first 6 months of 2021, and it's expected to increase significantly by the end of the year.
They're certainly not going to stop. They're here to stay. The barrier to entry is lower. The sophistication is higher. So we're going to continue to see an uptick.
The advice for individuals, small businesses, and the largest corporations, familiar.
A lot of times these ransomware attacks are triggered by a phishing email or a malware link or a download or attachment. So being absolutely vigilant about keeping an eye on what you're receiving and whether or not you should click on those links and open those attachments.
And of course, most experts say the best way to recover from a ransomware attack is to keep a full backup of all your files. In New York, Brett Larson, Fox News.
Next, check of the movies now available to watch at home and at those movie theaters. DVD, digital, and music releases this week include a comic book sequel, a crime drama, a Grammy-winning singer, and more. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with a list of new releases.
Let's meet your team.
DC Comics supervillain team The Suicide Squad tops the list of what's new in home entertainment. James Gunn's comic book sequel follows the cast of villains on a high-stakes mission in the hopes of being granted freedom from prison.
I'm trying to get my little girl out of jail.
Matt Damon leads the crime drama Stillwater. He plays an Oklahoma oil rig worker and father who travels to France to exonerate his estranged daughter of a murder conviction.
I think we should follow him.
Bill Murray and Rashida Jones team up as father and daughter who reconnect during an adventure through New York in Sofia Coppola's comedy On the Rocks.
What do you want?
The horror sequel Don't Breathe 2 features Stephen Lang reprising his role as Norman Nordstrom, hunting down a group of criminals after they kidnap a young girl living with him.
What am I going to get, an android up here?
The sci-fi thriller Warning weaves several cautionary stories about the potential horrors of artificial intelligence and climate change.
The fight is personal.
All 5 films of the fantasy action horror series Underworld are available in a 4K Ultra HD limited edition box set. From the small screen, Star Trek The Original Series, the complete series, is available for the first time in a collectible steelbook packaging. And Season 1 of the CW crime drama Walker, starring Jared Padalecki. For music fans, rock icon Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains releases his 3rd solo album, Brighten. And Grammy-winning singer Ed Sheeran releases his new album, Equals.
My bad habits lead to late nights.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Captain Kirk could really go psycho, couldn't he? I mean, he had the perfect psycho. I just wanted to say that. With saying that, that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Gonna leave you with video of sheep marching the streets of Madrid. Hey, be safe, do this all again tomorrow. See you then.